delighted to have you here at Morning Listeners today, Stacie. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to be here.
We are indeed excited too. Do you work out regularly, or how long do you often work out?
So I work out actually quite a bit. As you can probably see behind me, there's some trophies back there. I was an amateur bodybuilder for over 6 years. So being in the competition, bodybuilding atmosphere, exercise is just part of my routine. So I usually work out like 4 times a week right now, usually for about an hour, mostly weights.
That's impressive. And what are your commitments?
So obviously working out is one of them, but I've also really enjoy anything creative. So I like baking, and I like sewing, and I do like fun home improvement projects and gardening. I like things that I can start something and come to completion. So things that have a beginning, middle, and end, and I can feel success when they're done, because that helps to build confidence in other areas of the life.
Oh, I enjoy baking too.
Yeah, I love baking.
During the pandemic, even I tried a few recipes, and some turned out well, some turned out to be a huge blunder. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a chemistry. It's a science to baking.
I agree with you. So you are a belly dancer. How long have you been trying to master the art?
So I have been belly dancing for over 25 years, actually. And I've been performing since I was 17 at local restaurants, nightclubs. I was dancing over 3 nights a week for about 20 years. So now I've scaled it back to a few times a month, or private parties and events.
That's pretty a long period of training then.
It's a journey.
Yeah, it is. It is a long journey. In fact, I think we do share a common thread when it comes to mastering an art form. I'm a classical dancer, in fact.
Oh, wonderful.
So you are an erotic blueprint coach, a sex coach, in fact. Could you please elaborate on what exactly is a core erotic blueprint, and how can one find their type?
So the core erotic blueprint is essentially a map to your eroticism that gives you the opportunity to experience optimum sexual health and pleasure. And it consists of the stage of sexuality that you're in, your blueprint type, as well as obstacles and pathways to pleasure. And this is really important because it gives us the opportunity to create conversation. It gives us a language to be in a space of compassion with ourselves and our partners. And it also helps us to bust the myth of sexual incompatibility.
Sounds interesting.
You can find the quiz link. I sent you the quiz link actually that you could post. There's an online quiz that you can take, and it gives you a breakdown of what your erotic blueprint types are. So there's essentially 5 types. There's energetic, there's sensual, the sexual blueprint, kink, and shapeshifter.
All right. How would you like to define a sexual value system in your own words?
So to me, sexual values have to do with our attitudes, ideas, and beliefs around sexuality. So things like sex is okay when, sex is okay with. What even is your definition of sex in the first place? So it really is all of those things, your attitudes, ideas, beliefs about sexuality, and how you use those to navigate your social learning experiment that is sexuality.
Right. And previously, you had answered that there were a few quizzes by which they could derive and interpret their own type, right? So, is this quiz accessible? And like from where can they access the same?
So I definitely have links to the quiz on my website, to Miss Jaya and Blueprint Breakthrough, and you can find the quiz link there as well. And there is one quiz you can take, and it gives you just your most dominant erotic blueprint. And then the other option is going to give you a really detailed report that breaks down your percentage in each blueprint, because everyone is a mixture of all the blueprints. We just usually have some that are more dominant than others.
That sounds interesting. It's in fact news to me. I haven't tried it yet, but I would love to soon. Also, do you believe that sexuality and spirituality share, a coherent bond?
Yes, I do. I believe that human beings are sexual beings from conception until death. And orgasmic energy is the life force energy that flows through us and makes us alive. It is how we procreate as human beings. So there is absolutely an energetic and spiritual component to sexuality and sexual expression. And one of the blueprints really focuses on that energetic and spiritual aspect, and that's the energetic blueprint. And that's where we find a lot of the Tantra, sacred sexuality practices, touchless orgasms.
Sounds interesting. What advice would you provide to women in recovery who want to heal their sexuality?
So for anyone that's in recovery and is navigating sexuality sober, the first thing I would say is to be gentle with yourself and start to heal any types of traumas from the past so that you can become present. And usually that could involve working with a therapist or something like that. And from the coaching realm, which is really about where are you now and how do you want to move forward. So if there's no major traumas in the past that are really keeping you out of the present moment, I always move to embodiment. So any activities or practices that you can do to help create body awareness. So breath work, sound, even singing, any type of movement or physical activity that helps you get in touch with the sensations in your body. Because a lot of times when people have gone through a period of active addiction, there's an intense disconnection from their body, and people tend to stay in their heads a lot. And so anything that we can do to help us really bring the feeling back and sensations back into our body and create awareness around our body sensations is going to be one of the most important things. So the idea is to start to find pleasure in different areas of your life that may not necessarily have to do with sexuality. So again, like our hobbies, like baking or gardening, or if you like dance or movement or yoga, expanding your capacity for pleasure is going to be one of the most beneficial things for you. So if we can start finding pleasure and connection to our bodies in different areas of our life, that's going to directly translate into our sexual expression and enjoyment.
That was pretty informative. I'm sure it's going to help many to heal their wounds that have been caused in the past. So how long have you been working as a sex coach?
It's been about 12 years now.
And how do you record your experience as from where do you think it all began? The spark and interest in this profession. And
so for me, sexuality has always been very normalized, and I know that most people don't have that experience growing up. And I think that I had my experience because my mom didn't grow up in an environment where sexuality was talked about or acknowledged or normalized. And she didn't want me to have that same experience. So growing up, I was always very open and communicative about sexuality and very non-judgmental. And so for me, I think that it's just a state of being and a piece of who I am. And people recognize that. And so when I was doing just the business coaching with our salons, I was a salon professional for many years, and I used the coaching with our leadership team. And then as I started to narrow down and discover what my gifts and talents are, when I saw that a lot of people have shame and fear and guilt around sexuality, and I didn't, I was like, oh wow, maybe this is a superpower. And now I have the opportunity to give someone else permission to really be their authentic sexual self and discover what that looks like for where they're at in their life.
So you intended to utilize that superpower and make it useful for others as well. That's a great act.
Yeah, it is. And especially going back to, for me, believing that sexuality is, it's a part of being a human being. It's that energy is what makes us alive. I really, really see how our relationship to our own bodies and to our partner's bodies, it actually affects all areas of our lives. So one thing I've discovered is that going down this path or on this journey to sexual wholeness and freedom actually extrapolates out into all other areas of our life, giving us better communication skills, more confident, more self-empowerment, acceptance of others, and even a sense of inner peace and being able to operate from a space of pleasure and enjoyment.
You are also the founder of Holistic Expressions, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's the name of my company.
Yeah. So in the next 5 years, what do you expect? I mean, what do you plan to expand your company, and what all things would you plan to include in the upcoming years?
So right now, where my life has taken me is to in a amazing and magical partnership with my husband, who is also an erotic blueprint coach. And we have partnered together and created St. Pete Retreat. So I'm located in St. Petersburg, Florida, and we have a private retreat space where we work one-on-one with our clients in immersive experiences. So anything from multi-hour to multi-day, where we do intensive work on our sexuality and wholeness. It's body work, it's adventure dates, it's sex labs, it's teaching people to create containers and explore, have deeper self-acceptance. So we pretty much cater the activities in the retreat according to what the client's needs are. And we serve individuals as well as couples. So that I'm really, really stoked about, just the opportunity to have a space for people to come and really be in an immersive experience and get the integration time that they need to process everything that they're learning and experiencing. So that's kind of our biggest, latest, greatest that's going on.
It seems like you have created this platform where you're planning to offer people your services, and you plan to again alter the services depending on their needs and wants. It sounds really people friendly, and I hope that in the upcoming years, again, you'll be able to expand it more higher or at a soaring rate compared to the previous years. So all the best for that. Now, talking about yourself, who had influenced you the most in your life?
Ooh, like just in general or in the realm of sexuality?
Let's go with general. Yeah.
Okay. So it's interesting because I've always been very much into personal growth and development and spirituality. So I've gone through different phases in life where I've had different mentors or been really into a certain practice. So I remember listening to Danny Johnson on repeat, Tony Robbins on repeat, going and walking on fire, One of my mentors, Evelyn Maureen, is made a huge difference in my life because she pretty much taught me that you can enjoy and be a sexual being at any age. And she was one of my first mentors in the sacred sexuality realm and sex coaching realm. And that, hell, Dr. Patty Britton at Sex Coach U. She has a whole school on sex coaching. And so I had completed that and am part of the World Association of Sex Coaches. Yeah, there's so many people. And Jaya, of course, because when I first started getting into sex coaching and sacred sexuality, Jaya is the founder of the Erotic Blueprints. And so I had been following her for years in the Tantra realm. And then when she came out with the Erotic Blueprints, I was like, ooh, let me see what this is. And when I took her course, I had this aha moment of, holy smokes, this is exactly what I've been experiencing working with my clients in all of these different areas of sexuality. But the way that she said it was just so grounded and easy to understand that I went ahead and became an erotic blueprint coach. And right now I'm being trained as one of the master trainers in the erotic blueprints. So that's been a huge, huge deal. I've been mentoring with her for a couple of years now, and that's been a huge transformation. But yeah, I could go on and on about all the mentors, and yeah.
It seems like you do share a great bond with your mentors, and they have influenced you the most in your life. They have motivated you, encouraged you a lot to move ahead with this profession of sex coach. So let me ask you, if not sex coach, which other profession would you have chosen rather?
So when I was in high school, I took cosmetology. So I've been a licensed cosmetologist since I was 17. And I worked in salons from when I was 15 until I was around 30. So I actually still have some clients that I do their hair all these years later, simply because, again, it's a creative outlet. It's one of my passions. I love building relationships with people and seeing people grow and expand beyond what they could imagine. And doing hair is interesting because you talk with people and you have these really deep, intimate conversations with them, and you see them grow over time. And dealing with the physical aspect of the self as well, helping people to look and feel their best is an amazing gift to give. So I still love hair and makeup. And again, I've been a professional belly dancer for over 25 years. So yeah, I still love that and do that, you know. I dabble in like costume making. I've been sewing since I was 15. So yeah, every once in a while I'll help some of my friends that have their own like workout clothing line. I'll help them sew their clothes, or I make costumes for myself, for other people. So yeah, I'm kind of always dabbling in some creative pursuit, but I would imagine that, I don't know, maybe I'd still be doing hair, or maybe, yeah, I don't know.
The list seems too big, and you are so talented that you have expanded, getting titles as, say, a sex coach, cosmetologist, sewing, and many other professions. Yeah, you have had a hand on it, and you have gained experience, again, maintaining good relationship with your clients and people. You seem like a good communicator. You seem to gain people's interest instantly, like mine. We just gain now. I'm so impressed by your talents and skills. It's just so impressive. And I guess that is one of the reasons why you have chosen this profession, to say, provide your services to people and to make them better as well. It seems a great action.
Thank you. Yeah, I really do believe that, you know, you're not broken and you deserve to live a life of pleasure and enjoyment. And it doesn't have to be a struggle all the time. You know, yes, we're going to have challenges along the way, but we have the opportunity to decide how we're going to navigate those challenges. So helping people to come from a space of empowerment and pleasure, I think, is one of the biggest gifts and blessings that I have the opportunity to be a part of. You know, someone else's journey. It's an honor.
It's indeed an honor to be part of somebody else's journey as well. I agree with it. You might have had highs and lows in your lives, right? So, what is your personalized mantra to overcome highs and lows in your life?
So there's lots of mantras, but one thing that I always go back to is, you know what, I'll say this one. It landed for me when I was a teenager, and it seemed like it said this in a horoscope, maybe because I've studied astrology for so long. It said, everything happens in its own time according to a plan greater than our own. And so what that means to me is that, one, nothing is permanent. So that helps me get through things. This is a temporary situation, and we don't need to find permanent solutions to a temporary problem, right? The only thing that's constant is change. And if we put our will too much into something, or like have an idea, or stay attached to this idea of what we think something is supposed to look like, then we miss out on the gift, we miss out on the blessing. And it's going to happen organically, the way that it's supposed to, in its own time. So, you know, I can beat my head up against the wall and kick and scream about something all day long, but if it's going to be, then it is. And all I can do is be where I'm at and put one foot in front of the other and focus on what's the most important thing for me to do right now. And how can I come back to a space of empowerment and operate from there instead of a space of fear. So when I'm going through challenges, I try to bring myself back away from the fear and step into empowerment in any way that looks like, which again goes back into the breath, movement, sound, finding a creative hobby to immerse myself in, or sometimes just sitting and acknowledging my feelings, because they're going to pass. They're not permanent. And I also learned that my feelings are not always facts. And just because I got my feelings hurt, that doesn't translate into me dying. You know, like I can get my feelings hurt and I'm still here, you know.
You seem to be a very bold woman, and many would have been, inspired by your role model and by just your character and morality. And as you had said, this very motivating message tells a lot more about your character and how stronger you are. So we are indeed happy to have you here with us for the interview, and we appreciate your time and patience for the interview. Thank you so much.
It's such a pleasure. Thank you.